The Zondo Commission of Inquiry has heard more evidence relating to payments made to shell company Homix. That's according to audit partner at Deloitte, Chetan Vaghela. They had sought to establish the commercial viability of the fees paid for alleged services rendered. Now, Vaghela testified that they flagged a payment of 36 million rand excluding VAT, which was made to Homix relating to a master services agreement with Transnet. This was in an effort to establish if there had been any work done by the shell company. He said, while both Neotel CEO and CFO said they had no knowledge of Homix and no one could articulate what Homix had even done. They were later informed that Homix had helped resolve an impasse between Neotel and Transnet in the master services agreement. Vaghela said that this led to the suspicion that payments to Homix were nothing but facilitation fees, which is the payment of fees for work not yet done. Our very own Mbalenhle Mthethwa is, of course, at the Zondo Commission of Inquiry into State Capture. Let's cross live to her in Parktown now. Mbalenhle, thank you so much for the time. Just if we unpack that story, it does seem that Homix continues to get the bearing of the brunt here, paying for work that perhaps was not done in this deal, perhaps solving the impasse then between the likes of Transnet. Is the story actually coming together?
Good afternoon, Arabile. I think that is the question of the day, and it's been the question of the day since yesterday. Why was Homix receiving large sums of money from businesses that were doing work or contracted to SOEs? I mean, we've heard about how yesterday from a Reserve Bank official, how Homix received large sums of money, and the money, was later subsequently transferred to different accounts, and this spoke to money laundering. And yet again, we are still trying to answer the question as to why Homix received large sums of money from Neotel. Now, the Commission today has heard of how they received 36 million rand from Neotel. This is not the first time this 36 million rand is coming up before this Commission. The last time we heard about it was during the testimony of Gerard van der Westhuizen, who is a Transnet employee, and he was basically talking about how this 36 million rand was supposed to be commission paid to Homix, and he basically explained to the Commission that there was no commercial reason for paying this amount, and he used the term commission rather loosely because he said that Transnet had an exclusive relationship and an exclusive clause with Neotel, and they could only get services from Neotel, and therefore there was no reason for for Neotel to pay the 36 million rand to Homix. But we also heard about, the justifications and the different reasons that were outlined by Neotel for having paid this 36 million rand and a few other payments relating to other contracts at Transnet. We've heard one of those explanations being that there was an impasse in December of 2014 relating to one of the master services agreement, and that Neotel had sought the services of Homix to try and renegotiate and basically resolve that impasse that existed at the time. But you also hear that, none of the CFOs or the CEO or the board, anyone from the board of Neotel knew about Homix and what they did. But you also hear from today's witness that the Siyabonga Gama, who is a former Transnet executive, was aware of the relationship between Homix and Neotel, which is rather concerning that, the board knows nothing of this relationship, and yet Siyabonga Gama knows about it. Another person who knew about this relationship is Francois van der Merwe, who is also from Neotel, and basically today's witness just explained to us that he had gone to speak to this van der Merwe to find out who Homix was, because no one in the company seemed to have known who Homix was and what they scope of work was with Neotel. And he got the answer that Homix is a Dubai-based company with a presence in South Africa, offices in Pretoria to be exact. And he said that they basically operate at board level. And the witness saying that this basically suggested that they had some form of influence over boards at SOEs. So that's what we've heard thus far. And we're going to continue with hearing about some irregularities that came from an audit report that was done by Deloitte after the break. But for now, Arabile, it's back to you in studio.
Very own Mbalenhle Mthethwa there, of course, live at the state capture inquiry.